Welcome, explorers. Get ready to set sail on a journey through one of the most exciting and, world-changing periods in all of history. This isn't just about acing your exam. It's about really mastering the age of exploration. So think of this as your own personal explorer's quest. We're going to tackle the biggest questions from this era. And by the end, trust me, you'll be navigating this topic like a seasoned captain. Let's do this. All right, first things first, we have to understand the why. I mean, really, what on earth would make someone climb onto a wooden ship and sail off into the complete unknown? Let's dive into the powerful reasons that launched this entire era. Okay, question one. Go ahead and pause for a second, see how many you can list out. Think about things like money, power, religion. What else was driving them? Try to get at least 3 before we move on. You ready? So, how did you do? The 6 big ones were finding new trade routes for those super valuable spices, the search for riches like gold and silver, the mission to spread Christianity, a genuine curiosity about what was out there, the desire for fame and power for themselves and their countries, and of course, the pure thrill of adventure. If you got all 6, fantastic job. This next question, it really gets to the heart of the money side of things. Today, we just sprinkle cinnamon on our toast, right? But back then, spices were basically like gold. So why were they so valuable? And why risk your life on the ocean to find a new way to get them? Okay, here's the deal, and this is a huge point for your exam. Spices. They were the refrigerators of the 15th century. They were essential for keeping food from going bad. The problem was the land routes to get them were controlled by rivals, which made them crazy expensive. So a sea route, that was the ultimate economic hack. It meant you could cut out the middleman and get direct access to unbelievable wealth. So now that we know why they sailed, let's meet the people who actually did it. We're talking about the pioneers who dared to sail right off the edge of the map. And Portugal, well, they were leading the charge. Our first pioneer is Bartholomeus Dias. Now, he didn't actually set out to find India just yet. Nope. His mission was way more specific, and it was a critical first step. Do you have any idea what it was? That's it, exactly. Diaz wasn't aiming for the big prize just yet. His crucial job was to map the African coast and figure out if you could even sail around the continent. He was, quite literally, charting the edge of the known world. Now, as Diaz was exploring, he wasn't just looking around. He was acting. He started putting up these special markers along the coast. What was that object called, and what was its super important purpose? It was called a padrón. And this big stone pillar, it was a really powerful symbol. By putting one up, Diaz was basically planting a flag and making a bold statement. This land now belongs to Portugal. It was an act of discovery for sure, but also an act of claiming ownership. Okay, so Diaz proved you could get around Africa. The next logical step was taken by another legendary Portuguese explorer, Vasco da Gama. What did he finally do that no European had ever done before? Da Gama did it. He achieved what Diaz had only proved was possible. He completed the full sea route to India, directly connecting Europe to the rich spice trade. You gotta understand, this one single voyage was a massive game changer for the entire global economy. But listen, these voyages were incredibly dangerous. Let's tackle 2 key things for your exam at once: the biggest health risk these sailors faced and the technology that made these impossible journeys, well, possible. First up, the sickness was scurvy. It was this awful, deadly disease caused by a lack of vitamin C, because there were just no fresh fruits or vegetables on those long trips. And second, the tools. The 2 big ones were the caravel, a new kind of ship that was way faster and easier to steer, and the magnetic compass, which let them know which direction they were headed, even when there was no land in sight. Exploration wasn't just about maps and spices. It was about encounters between different people. And sadly, the first major meeting between Europeans and the people of Southern Africa, it was a tragic one. So this is a 3-part question, but it tells one single, really important story. Pay close attention to the details here: the place, the reason for the fight, and the devastating way it ended. And here's the tragic answer. The meeting happened at Mossel Bay. The conflict started over something as basic as access to fresh water, and it ended when Diaz shot and killed a Khoikhoi herder with a crossbow. This event really marked a painful and violent beginning to the relationship between Europeans and the indigenous people of Southern Africa. Okay, we're now jumping forward about a century. The age of exploration has kind of morphed into an age of commerce, and it's being dominated by these massive trading companies. But what was life actually like for the regular sailors who powered this new global machine? So in 1602, a new powerhouse enters the game. This company would become one of the most powerful in world history. What do those letters, VOC, stand for? And what was its main goal?
The VOC was the Dutch East India Company, and let me tell you, it was a force to be reckoned with. Its goal was simple: to completely take over, to monopolize the global spice trade. It was basically one of the world's first multinational corporations, and it had the power of a country with its own army and its own navy.
But for the average sailor working for the VOC, life was anything but glamorous. I mean, it was a brutal, dangerous, and often very short life. So what were the main hardships they had to deal with every single day at sea? Man, life as a VOC sailor was just a constant struggle. They faced rampant disease, everything from scurvy to plagues spread by rats. The food was awful. We're talking biscuits as hard as rocks and heavily salted meat. There was absolutely no privacy in these cramped, filthy sleeping areas. And on top of all that, there was constant danger from violent storms, pirate attacks, and even the threat of mutiny from your own crewmates. All right, you have done the hard work. You've been amazing. Now it's time for a quick, rapid-fire round to lock these essential dates into your brain. You ready? Let's go.
Here we go. 1488, DS rounds the Cape. 1497, Da Gama begins his voyage. 1498, Da Gama reaches India. And 1602, the powerful VOC is founded. Got 'em? Excellent.
And that's a wrap. You have officially completed the explorer's quest. You've tackled the motivations, the pioneers, the dangers, the key events, everything. You should feel really confident and prepared now. You've got this. Before you go, I'll leave you with one last thing to think about. When we look at all of it, the incredible courage, the ruthless ambition, the tragic conflicts, and the discoveries that change the world forever, what do you think is the most important lesson this era has for us today? That's something to really chew on. Great work and good luck on your exam.